Welcome back, everyone, and we are going to talk about, of course, my next gaming project, which is Metal Gear Classic, a remake of the original Metal Gear for the NES, but of course adding lots and lots of the MSX version, which we all know was not released here. And I thought it'd be kind of appropriate too, and it's just a fluke, that the new remake of Snake Eater is coming out as well, so I'm looking forward to that. But I've got a lot of notes here. I know I haven't been out with a video for like over a month, and that's because it has taken me literally over a month, all of January and then some time as well, just to complete the engine for this game. It is the most complex game that I have created so far, so I always want to make sure that I come up with a video that has a lot of things to show you. So let's get through this list. Number one is, everyone's going to ask, Ed, how are you going to do the continuation? Or if I need to shut the game off, how do I pick up from where I left off? Well, we all know in the original game had a passcode. We hate them. Metal Gear's got to have literally the worst one I've ever seen. The numbers and letters go on way too long. We all know this, blah, blah, blah. So, of course, what I wanted to have in was you're going to be able to save your own game. You're going to be able to load your games as well. You know, that's going to fix the problem. But I wanted to take it one step further. And in the original MSX version of Metal Gear 2, there was a room, if you've never played it before, in the beginning of the game, that was all red. It was like a control room that had some computers in it, and when you went in, sometimes this weird national anthem would play in the background. Now, that room made no purpose in the original game other than like a little Easter egg or some funny thing that they put in. So what I wanted to do was I took that room, right, and I made it so this is going to be your save room. So you run up to the computers and you punch the computers, because I mean, that's how you interact with everything in Metal Gear, is you just punch everything anyway. You punch the computer and then you can save your game. I've got 2 save game slots, and I may expand that to 2 or 3 in the future. Remember, this is still early, but this is way better. These rooms are going to be very systematically put throughout the game in specific areas so that you can save your game, and when you die on the game over screen, it's just going to ask you to load your saved game from whatever slot that you wanted to load it from. That makes it a million times better and fixes everything, and I think it's kind of just a cool add to the game as well. Next is the snake crawl, as I like to call it, where he lies on his belly and he crawls on the ground. That was never in the original Metal Gear, but I put that in. How can you have a Metal Gear game without that? Now, I was thinking about how I can use this, because this is something that I have to completely invent from the ground up that was never in the original one anyway, right? You could do it in part 2 of the MSX, but in part 1 of both versions, you could not do that. So I was thinking, how can I take advantage of this cool new feature that I've added to the game? So I did. So there are some fences in the game that got holes in them. You're going to have to crawl through those. There are these invisible laser tripwires around that you have to crawl underneath those. And there are some security cameras that if you go against the wall and you're not snake crawling underneath them, they will detect you. So I thought it was cool. And there's going to be many more things that I'm going to use in the future. Many more things that I can think of to actually utilize the snake crawl as well. So those are just some of the features with that one, and it's a very neat feature in the game, let me tell you. Next, you're gonna love this one. Okay, in the original Metal Gear, there was a missile weapon, all right? Now, what that was a very cool concept. I don't think I ever saw that in an NES game at the time. And now, the missiles, they were remote controlled. So unlike other missiles in other games where you just fired them, they went straight, they hit a wall, or they hit an enemy, and then they exploded. In the original Metal Gear, when you fired a missile, you could not control Snake anymore, but your D-pad would control the missile, and it would always fly around. You couldn't make it stop, though. It was always in trajectory. So you had to have some skill with it in order to maneuver it around the stages without hitting a wall or hitting some boxes and then having it explode. Well, I expanded on that. What I did was I made it so that your camera, when you fire the missile, your camera gets attached to the missile and not to Snake anymore. So it follows the missile around, because you can see some of my stages are much bigger than the original NES version, sometimes even 4 times bigger. The original versions, they were just one screen. They just did one screen at a time, one screen attached to another screen. They were never ever actually scrolling or big. and mine are much bigger. So I thought, oh, if you attach the camera to them, now you can fly the missile all over the place, and it's kind of cool. I've got other different stages, and also in the original NES version, that missile was only kind of used at like 1, maybe 2 parts in the entire game. No. In this case, I made it so there's another floor stage. There's some gas in there as well, so you got to put your gas mask on. There's just so many cool things that I want to utilize this remote controlled missile for. Control it all around the maze of the level and try to hit the switch at the end. In this case, we'll shut off the electric floor that, shocks you and deals damage to you. But this is going to blow your mind. I even expanded upon that. Now there is an upgrade that you can get for the missile, and I just call it the Missile Fist. And I got the idea from the Phantom Pain, the best Metal Gear game that ever came out. And if you upgrade, you can actually get a rocket fist, or whatever it's called, Missile Fist, that you can actually control, and it has a camera inside of it. So I took that concept, and now this is an upgrade for your original missiles, and now you fire the Missile Fist. Not only will you not be detected by the enemies when it explodes, but it will also, when it hits the enemies, it will put them to sleep. It knocks them out. So now you can fly this fist around these levels, and you can actually hit the guards with them and actually put them to sleep. Very, very neat concept. I like it a lot, and it's just one of the few. There's going to be many, many more upgrades in the game that are literally going to blow your mind. A simple upgrade was the elevators. I didn't like the way the elevators looked in the original one. They were kind of, I don't know, they didn't really fit the game. So I really like the elevator in Part 2 for MSX. I mean, we all like so many features of the MSX version of Part 2. It's such a great, great game that I wanted to take the elevator from that one. So what I did was I copied it, not exactly, but it looks a lot better than it did before. And you can actually, you punch the button and you can select what floor you want to go to, and then it will actually move there. I've got the animation in there and everything, and it will go to the proper floor that you're on. And I just think it looks a lot better. It looks a lot cleaner. It's a simple upgrade, just a graphical upgrade pretty much, but damn, does it look so much better than the original. Now, this is really cool. I did mention this before, but I never had a chance to show it off because it wasn't done yet. So here I'm going to show it to you, and that is areas that were never even in the original before. Now, for example, okay, not just talking about secret areas or, new rooms and hallways and stuff like that. All that's going to be in the game to enlarge the game. This is going to be one of the biggest games I've ever created. I'm talking about, for example, in the beginning of the game, there is a crossroads section that is in the jungle. Now, if you go to the left or you go to the right, all it does is it just repeats the stage. It doesn't really make much sense, other than I think that they just didn't have enough time to finish it. Who knows, right? So I said, no, I want to make it now where you can actually go there. So you can, and this adds way more exploration to the game now. The levels now make sense. They all join together now properly, even in front of the first building, okay? When you would go to the left or go to the right, it would just repeat itself. No more. You can actually go to the very far left of the building and very far right of the building. It feels so cool, because back in the day, when I was a kid, I always imagined that, and it's not that it didn't make much sense. It was just in my mind, I'm like, there should be the corner of the building there. You should be able to go there. And you never ever could. It was always just something that was only trapped in my mind, trapped in my imagination. And it's so cool that I can actually get it out of my mind and actually physically manifest it into reality. And now there it is. And there's going to be tons of that throughout the game. Now, we all know that you had to rescue hostages or certain people in the game that are tied up. They are in there, of course. You rescue them, and the more that you rescue, it will get your rank up. And when your rank goes up, it's kind of like a level system in the game, and then you'll get bigger life. Your life bar will expand a little bit, and how much ammunition for your weapons will expand a little bit, so you could hold a little bit more. But I thought it was cool because, again, I got the idea from Phantom Pain when you would click those balloon things on the guys, and they would get sucked up to the or they would fly up to the helicopter. I was like, it doesn't take much to put that in here, and it's so cool. So why not put it in? So there it is. You got the balloons that attach to the hostages and people in the game, and they actually get rescued. They fly up out of there. Now, I know you're going to say, well, how does he fly through the roof or whatever? Well, come on. It's, you know what I mean? It's a 2D game. What do you want, right? So I just thought it was cool to put it in there. There's going to be lots of secret rooms in the game. Now, in the original, when you punch the wall, it would make like a thump noise. It would go like doom, doom, doom. But if you actually found a secret room, it would change and it would go do it, right? So I do like my sound effects, right? But it did. That's the way it sounds. And I put that in the game as well. Now, though, because there's, I don't know, this is a glitch in the original one, I believe. There was a glove that you would get, some kind of metal glove, and this wasn't even in the original for the MSX version, and you had to have this metal glove, and then you could punch certain secret areas, and then it would open up, only if you had the glove. But I think that they opened up anyway, even if you didn't have the glove, so it's kind of silly, and so I changed all of that, right? There's no glove in the game anymore. I changed that to the rocket fist or missile fist. It's way better anyway. So now you hit the wall and you can find secret areas by hitting them because they're hollow. They make a different sound. But now you have to use your plastic explosives in order to blow a hole in the wall in order to get to the secret areas. It gives a way more usefulness to the plastic explosives that were essentially never even used in the original game at all, other than to destroy the computer at the end of the game. And in case you're wondering, I didn't mention this before at the last one, people need to actually ask in the comments area down below, hey Ed, is the Metal Gear final boss actually going to be in the game? Duh. Like, do you even really need to ask me that? Like, I don't even want to spoil it for you, but not only is it going to be the final boss of the game, there's going to be more. Certain things I wanted to make a little bit more realistic than the original one, such as when you get bullets for your gun, for example. Okay, well, the Glock 17 or the Glock 19, one of the most popular handguns in the world, whether or not Snake is using it, we can just imagine that he is. Okay, it has a 17 round capacity magazine. So I thought, well, why not make it 17 rounds? And then when you rank up, it will be double 17 and then triple 17. It's almost like he's getting an extra magazine every single time he ranks up. Small little Easter egg thing that, you know, only like gun people would know. And finally, another upgrade that I did to the weapon system. It's kind of like the missile fist upgrade. I did an upgrade for the landmines. So if you get the actual gas mines, you can lay those all over the place. And when they explode, not only will you not be detected, but they will actually put the guards to sleep. So this again gives more usefulness to some of the weapons in the original Metal Gear, other than just your gun with a silencer on it is pretty much all you use throughout the entire game. I want to make it so that you, the player, can go through the game more imaginatively on how you want to progress through the game or take the guards out or use whatever strategies that you want to use in the game, rather than just run, shoot with your gun, run, shoot with your gun, punch some enemies, shoot with your gun. That's pretty much all you did in the original one, because all of the weapons would just instantly trigger the alarm system. So these are just two of the upgrades. I'm coming out with more of them as well, and it's turning out absolutely more fantastic than I ever could have thought. This could possibly be the greatest game that I've ever created, even more so than even Castlevania 3, but we'll see. I don't know. Those are some big shoes to fill. Other questions people ask me too, and I've had to repeat this a million times, but I'll tell you once again, if you stayed to the end of this video, thank you very much. And that is, people ask, well, what emulators do I need to play this on, and blah, blah, blah. You don't need any emulators for this. They're not ROM hacks, okay? These are games that I've done the sprites for them. I'm doing the coding for them. I do everything for these games from the ground up, okay? For Windows, and also if you have a Steam Deck as well, they do work on those. So there's no emulation, no nothing. You just get the file. It's very simple. You don't even need to, it doesn't even install on your computer. All you got to do is just go into the file and click the Start Game button, boom, and it runs. And they always run no matter what. They're absolutely fantastic. So thank you everyone for watching this update video. I'm very excited for this game. The hard part is done, and I have put a lot of content in it already. I almost have the whole entire first building done. The jungle's done. Like I said, the engine was the hardest part. but it is turning out so awesome. If you have any comments or any suggestions for the game, put it down below. Within reason, I will try to add your ideas into the game because I always take user feedback all the time. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you next time.